Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you guys how to create our tiles or the graphics for the NES, and I'm going to go over as well how that works. So with that said, let's do this. Alright, so let's get started. There's a lot to cover. Like I said, I'm going to cover how to create the NES graphics with our tiles and how that works as well, how the 2-bit per pixels works. But let's go over first some resources and material. You can look it up, and it is first the Mega Cat Studios, which they have developed a bunch of games, especially for the NES, which contains a bunch of information which I already covered, and some software, at least some quick introduction of these tools that we have. I'm going to go over the YY-CHR, which is the most popular editor out there to work for any sprites related for consoles. GIMP, it's like a Photoshop alternative, extremely popular, and a tool for that. And there's a sprite, which is my preferred method to drawing pixels, but it's generally not gonna use it because you can use it in conjunction with the tools I'm gonna show you. And here it explains a bunch of stuff that we can read it. There's some other more in-depth how to make backgrounds over here and whatnot. So it's it's a really good resource material to study. And as well, we have our Big Ink Studios, which has the most wonderful information tutorial in a way over here in this graphical pictures over here, which is the digestible information, which you can just look at right away and kind of understand how the graphics for the NES works, which is this wonderful information. So here are background tiles, some attributes, some stuff that we already covered, some animations over here, how to animate tiles here, and at least some small paragraphs over here. Let me click over here, see what happens. No problem. A while. Great information, some parallax, illusions happening, a bunch of stuff, backgrounds, priorities, some limitations, 8x16 sprites, so a bunch of great information. Just looking at this content over here, she also has a tool or a bunch of access, another. So we're gonna go over the YY-CHR editor, which is a great tools. She also has her own over here, which I'm gonna go over it as well. So we're gonna mention not only YY-CHR, which is the most popular in GIMP, a bunch of other tools and links over here, and I'm gonna put all those links under the description below. But the first thing that we're gonna do is go over the YY-CHR, which is again the most popular editor for any pixels for any major consoles out there. All right, so let's go over the YY character. And YY-CHR is a character editor made by Japanese Mario hacker named YY. Makes sense, they're character editor, meaning pixels over here, YY his name. And it is the most utilized tool that we can use to create pixels. And it says multiple consoles and handhelds, so from Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis. This is like the support to have. A little bit of history over here. You're gonna click over here to download the version. And there's other outdated versions over here and other iOSs you can get over here. But let's just click here under the link. It's going to give us his YY-CHR wiki link, which is out in Japanese. But don't worry, all we need to go is come over here and this is download YY-CHR.net build. And the Japanese format for date is year, month, and date. So this is this year on June 6th. And don't worry, there's both Japanese and English versions. And you can customize the application by using the language file over here, which I'm pretty sure there is some other supported language for other speaking countries. So all you need to do is just language file over here, and you can just change this language for any other language or any Spanish or Portuguese speaking countries, Arab. You can just like to modify those files so other people can access those the same file over here. So download that, extract, and you're gonna have these two files over here, template and YY-CHR, and just let's click this, let's run it. Let me put under this background so it's easier on the eyes. And here is our main editor. As you see, as soon as you open this editor, there's always going to be this graphics this cool graphics, the samples that are already running as soon as you open. Here's the link for his website. Here's the old build from 2019. There's also some other features like this 8-bit pixel over here. I'm not going to really use that. I'm really concerned is this character grid over here. And so, for example, this was Mario. It's been around earlier. So here's Mario. Let me just compile the code over here and run it. So that's what we've been working with, at least on the last video. So run emulator. Here's our Mario. So all we're doing is changing all of this graphics over here. If I go under their PPU viewer, or character viewer, which is what our YY-NAT is going to change, it's going to just change this for all this thing over here. And I can easily do that because I already have another Mario here. I have Mario 1. Where is it? Mario 1 dot character, extension dot char, but it doesn't really matter. All this file is a binary code, so regardless what name or extension you use, just make sure it's a binary code, which the YY editor does for us. But if I just change this for Mario 1, all it does is pretty much just changing the sprite data, not the background data. And if I should run our emulator over here, instead of Mario, now we have this Mario enemy over here. If I come here, PPU viewer, and here is a different sprite. The backgrounds are the same. So let me close this. And just save. This is pretty easy. So we save as or save. Click save. Already has under the YY-CHR. So let me save as. It's going to be under ROM over here. So YY-CHR. I already have it over here. So just first, let's say, let's call it foo, whatever. And it should be here, foo.char. It's the same thing as YY-CHR. So let me just, so all we're doing is including the binary foo. So let's compile this. Remember, this is a binary file, so I need to compile all the code every time. So let's run it over here, run emulator. And now all this random garbage is happening over here. But if you come in here in our PPU viewer, our character viewer, you see over here is I don't want 8x8. Here is their sprites over here for our new game, our new sprites. And you see over here, I close it, opening you back up. And you see over here, we only have this two code over here. Character selection, that's all we have. If you want to have the rest of this, which is available over here, you actually need to come over here and increase our character data. So we have 8 kilobytes, have enough not only for back over here, have enough one for one sprite and one background. But as you see over here, all we need to do is save as over here and create our file over here. So let's just, for a sample, let's create the file. And then let me just go quickly over all this simple functionality. So here I can have the size of our editor to grow. I like it. You can go as big as you like. So let's give the biggest one for now. And here we have the selection phase over here. And it's nice over here also, if you see my arrow. So if I come under the arrow, under this area, this is select draw over here. Draw pen for the left click mouse. For both of this is scroll, and this is pick up color, and this is select. So I can change the selection size over here. Let's have an 8x8. I can change this format for dash or whatever line. So let's keep it that line. And let me go back over here, open our full character, which is everything I have over here. And as you see over here, there's a bunch of other formats, like I was saying, for multiple consoles. So it's a 2-bit by pixel for the NES. Then I have a 1-bit by pixel, which is pretty much just a black and white. So 2 colors over here. Then I have for the Game Boy version, as you see, it is completely different. Not completely different, but this is saved under the NES version. And different patterns over here that we can change. As well, as you see, it's going to give us different patterns. For the Game Boy, here is for the which one is this? I'm not so sure. Maybe this is the other console, the MSX, the first console that was running Metal Gear, the Super Nintendo. But as you see, since this data is a NES graphics, it doesn't really have compatibility, at least from the extension of what you wanted to show out over here. So the Super Nintendo has multiple bit per pixels. Here, Game Boy Advance, all the other MSX2, all the other consoles is right over here. Well, what I really want is the NES over here, and that's what I got over here. So that's one thing I'm gonna go over. You can do a bunch of other pixel editing over here. And another thing, just to go over quickly, if I click over here on this panel over here, you can see how I'm changing this sprite editor. It's not going to change the default of our game, but if you want to see, for example, what it's going to look in our game, you can come over here, and if you see over here, you can right click and change the color over here for whatever. This or just click over here. So my game palette's normally something like this, so I can change stuff like this, as you see. But this is how it mainly works. So let's create a file over here. And let's, for example, click this over here. And I come over, this is on the left side. On the right side, I have a pen pattern, a bunch of stuff, a line, and square. It doesn't really matter. It's kind of obvious. And I'm just working, let's say, I like this one better over here. And like I remember on the previous videos, the first color is like almost like a transparency color. So if I want on this, let's say this one, just click the color that I want. Let's say this one, and let's draw some patterns or something, regardless. Something like this. I don't even know what I'm drawing, just sampling you guys. The background, so buckets. So all of this is pretty much any standard pixel editors out there can do this. At least this tools over here, the drawing, so it's pretty familiar, pretty straightforward. So let's do something like this. Now let's change this for a 8x8 by a 16x16, so I can get something called a meta tile, so multiple tiles together, like what Mario is. And then I can do, I don't know. So this became more like a drawing with Dan. So let me do this. Let me change this right over here. Put a background. Oops. Can Control Z and Control Y over here. So, oops. So something, I don't know, something like this. Let's give him some those really poly. Here it is, some face going over here. So back over here. Let's give him a body. Something like this. So here's a person over here. Some quick drawing over here. Fantastic. If I say so myself, there you go. Let's come back over here, give him a tie. Oh, it's hard to draw a tie, so there you go. Something like this. So here's your character. And as you notice over here, let me click over here. So this is going to be the end of the sprite file over here. So let me go back my 8x8 over here. And let me just put this. And from down here and upwards, that's going to be our the next. No. So this is going to be our background right over here. So let me do a quick 3232. Something just quick. Some lines. I don't know, just so I can show you guys. I want to see you guys just be drawing forever. So let's save as. Go back to full. Replace it. So now our full file is replaced. We need to compile because it's a different code. Compile is built. Let's run our emulator and let me just close this, run it again, and see what we got. So here is our file right over here. So if I go to View Viewer, here is my sprite. So, well, it doesn't look that great with this color palette. And here is our background sprite. So 8 kilobytes taken to both of the space. So this is pretty much how you work with YY-CHR. So that's the main focus from this editor. There's other functionalities. You can try it out yourself. And there is other programs that come with YY-CHR, but the only thing they actually only use is the YY-CHR editor over here. And I was working on some, well, and I also have, like I said before, the extension doesn't matter, but I do have a test.net. I name it .NES. So for to compile the code and then run in the emulator or reload. Let's reload over here. Nothing's happening with the PPO viewer. Just testing some patterns over here, as you see. So that's how the YY-CHR character works. So let's go over the other tools that we have over here. So the other software that we can use is GIMP, which is almost like a Photoshop alternative. It's free. That's why it's widely popular. So 25 years, as you see over here. Make sure you download it, install it, and run it. I already have over here, and have some file opens over here. And this one as well. I'm going to show you how you can do that. So let me close that. And go back over here, GIMP. And you're going to use this in conjunction with a plugin, which I found on GitHub. And that is the file round bin plugin, which can work on the Super Nintendo, and the NES, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance. Which one is this? Not really sure. I want to say the Neo Geo Pocket. Well, Google doesn't know either. I'll look it up later. Gotta know my abbreviations over here and some other softwares over here. So if you are using Linux or Mac, there's a Makefile over here, which you can compile this code. But if you come under bin, under Linux or Windows, there's also a compile binary over here that we can use. And once you have that file downloaded or compiled, just move into our GIMP plugin files. Here's the default Linux. Here is the default Windows. Just make sure it's under this location. You can check on preference where it is. And here is how to install it and a bunch of extra information. So here's a hints over here, how to make sure everything is working properly. Color map and all that other stuff. I think the most important part over here is to make sure it's indexed right over here. So let's come on in GIMP. I have a few files over here. And to check this, let's go open my YY-CHR. There you go. So let's go back over here. And I can easily open any binary file or character file. Here is Mario. I've been using forever. So let me zoom in over here. See how the Mario file can. Oh, not you. Let me open another file over here. Let's open this YY-CHR over here. So here's all the graphics that I show you as soon as you open YY-CHR, right over here. And here I have two files that we're going to try to export. So here is the MegaCat file that is right over here. This tile is over here. And I have a as well, a Nintendo over here. So the first thing, let's check this one out. This one is already indexed. Make sure it's on low indexing. And maximum color for convert is fine. Already using only 4 colors anyway. So what I'm gonna, if I were to export this, it's gonna cause a little bit of error because the width has to be 128. The bottom doesn't really, well, it has to be a certain size, but it doesn't matter as much. But you're gonna have to resize this. So what's the canvas size? 128 pixels. Resize. So let's just this an example. I could have easily just crop. You can manipulate the image as you want, but for example, let's just do this. So let export as. NES is right over here. Let's change the full file right over. Should I? Yeah, just do this full file. Let's replace it. Now let's open under YY-CHR to see if that worked. And here is the file that I have right here. So under this plugin, I can export this file. If I didn't do it, so if I have this, the whole thing over here, and for to export it, it's gonna be a bunch of garbage over here. So export as. Call it full. Yeah, replace it. So let's reload it. So some works, but it's all over the place over here. So make sure it's at least 128 pixels. So it goes from the start to end of a row at least. So next up, we have this console over here. So let's try to do that. So we're gonna scale the image. So 128 pixels. So scale. So that's our Nintendo NES over here. And make sure you're gonna convert to index for maximum color palette. Change it right over here. So then here is our Nintendo. Let's export this. Here it is. Let's see. Do this all over again. So documents, programming, NES. Last time. So I change full. Let's replace. So here's reload. Let's reload. And here's my Nintendo file over here. Sometimes this does occur. I don't know. There's not enough documentation on this plugin to explain why there's sometimes it's got shortcutted, but this is for images only. So as you see from the sprites, it works 100%. You just have to go over, make sure everything is working fine. So make sure you have this part over here. So that's how you can use GIMP. So let's go over how you can go over some more tools that we can use. All right, so another great resource which you can use is ROMracking.net. Here's where I found my GIMP plugin over here. And if you can click over here under ROMhacking.net, here's the main page, a bunch of excellent information. As you see, there's a bajillion stuff happening over here because it covers a lot of other consoles. But what we worry about is utilities. So click under utilities. And here is how you can find a bunch of more tools that we can use for utilities over here. There's also some home racks, some homebrew games. So you can check out this whole site. It is wonderful. But there's a bunch of stuff happening. First of all, there's like 1,500 results close to it. So let's put 200 pages so I can see everything. In platform, as you see, there's a bunch of platforms over here. And all I want is a Nintendo. So let's go over here, Nintendo. Here it is. And go. So now we search from almost 1,500 to 322. And then we can actually come over here and Alter. Different alters. Oh, excuse me. Categories. Here's all the different utilities you can use. So some of them don't have any, but like assembly tools, there's a few over here. There's game specific, which is the majority of this file. So if I say over here, it's going to be 103. But there's other stuff you can use over here, whatever you need. But I'll come here in the graph editors. And here is a field explanation, the author, and the name of the tiles over here. Just make sure there's no game over here, NA, because this BB hack is a tool used for the game mother. But this is NA generally is for any ROM that you make. But if you need it, it's right over here. And the good thing about it, there is an explanation over here. So specific editor, currently early stages, intended to main event features. And that's where I found the GIMP plugin somewhere over here. I don't know what category it was, but it's right over here. And you see there's a bunch of other graphic editors like this one was looking at. So there's a bunch of tools that we can use right over here under this from hacking.net. And even if you like Google YY-CHR, that's the first site it's going to send you to. YY-CHR. Oh, that's not how you spell it. Utilities YY-CHR RAM.net, which is the older version. There's a newer version available. That's why the first link that I sent was that version. Another way, before I go to cover the other parts, is under GitHub. I already have here GitHub open for this one. So let's go under GitHub over here, or any other repository sites. Just type NES. NES is going to be a bunch of different stuff, like a bunch of different repository. But if you are a little more specific, look, let's see editor and search. You can see more results showing up. Most of them is going to be emulator if you put just NES. So let's see, NES level editor, Chip and Dale's, Ducks. So for a bunch of games, the most popular is always going to be on top. So for example, you like this one, you just come over here, keep reading over here how you can change and everything. A bunch of simple sprite editors. So a bunch of people actually made a bunch of tools that we can use. So you can go under the GitHub, GitLab, and check all those repository sites and check what they have over here. So even like editors, so I have 155 results that you can actually look through. And pretty much the bigger guys already covered. And the last thing you're going to cover, so GitHub from hacking.net is going to be this big ink studio over here. So I was looking for some sprites to work as a sample. And then I come under this website, which has, like I showed you guys before, this wonderful digestible information over here. As soon as I saw, like, wow, this explains so much. It's great information. But as soon as I see asset workshop, you click over here. And you can download this asset workshop. And by the way, she also has a game consoles. I don't know if I mentioned, but give it at least a look at it. So she's helping us with all this information. So I think it's at least give it a look on the Super Hiking League DX. But under this NES assets, we can download this, which I already have extracted under my tools, Nintendo, NAS over here. And here is the NES Asset Workshop, which this great tool that we have over here. So here's a little bit of a drawing tool over here. So I'm drawing under this palette, as you see over here. Drawing on this palette over here. So here is our namespace. So this is all our tile for the screen. Here's our sprites. Here's a 2x16. And change the colors right over here, which is wonderful. So I can switch the characters from characters to the background. This is our sprite. This is our characters right over here, the character data. So this you can change here as well. Really good. Here's our meta tiles. So meta tile is pretty much bunch of tiles all together over here. Map a bunch of stuff in preview right over here. So it's a good software or tool you can use, and you can actually export all this stuff over here. So you can export all this stuff that we need. Meta tiles generally is a bunch of tiles stacked together. I think I covered that before. So that's all the tools that we can use in order to generate our graphics for the NES. So now with all that out of the way, I'm going to show you how the 2-bit pixel works. So if I come over here under YY-CHR, open over here. See over here, 2 means 2 bytes per pixel. So I'm going to go and cover this. So let's go over the subject right now. All right, so I already show you guys how to make the graphics for the NES, or to make the tiles, how everything is built off tiles for the NES. In this part of the video, I'm going to show you how it actually works, and that is by the 2-bit per pixel format over here. And I'm using the Hurlin.com. I think his name is, let me open over here. Give props for Marcus Hurdley. And you can go over his blog, and over here, this blog, and give him some love. You're sharing all this information over here. And the reason why I chose this resource over here is not only has the sample over here that I'm going to go over, which teaches all this 2-bit per pixel over here, it also has a Java running sample over here that I can change. So for example, this I can put some other hex value, FC, and it's going to change the whole complexity over here. And because it's a base of the Game Boy, the Game Boy only has, even though it's a 2-bit per pixels, it has only different shades of gray. At least the Game Boy. In the Game Boy Color, you got different colors, but that's another subject. But it uses the same format as the NES, is 2-bit per pixel. If I have over here already, so let me open the YY-CHR over here. You see over here, I have 2-bit pixels for the NES, for the Game Boy, for the, I believe, the Visual Pocket. Might be Visual Basic, not really sure. And MSX, there's another console, which is the first console in which Metal Gear was actually introduced. And here there's other higher bit per pixels. The only see the difference is the pattern they're rendering. And you can also learn about bit per pixels under the Retrograde Mechanics Explain. Here he goes over a bunch of different pixel modes. Here's the 1 byte per pixel over here. All the different bit by pixels or different formats is essentially the same thing. So you're gonna require multiple bits to generate 1 pixel. And let's just jump into the subject. You can also read all the information over here, but it's easier just to zoom in over here and explain what's going on from here. And I'm gonna use the YY-CHR over here to show how everything works. So I'm gonna draw over here. You get this tile over here. So tile is 8x8 pixel representation over here. And as the name implies, 2-bit per pixel. So it's going to take 2 bits to generate 1 pixel. And since it's a 8x8, 8x8, as you see over here, let me, any other color. So there's 8 pixels over here, another 8 pixels over here to generate a single a single tile for the NES. So as you notice, to generate the first 8 tiles over here, I'm going to take at least 16. So 8 times 2, 16 bits, or 2 bytes over here, which is as you see here on the sample. Or you can also refer to one word over here. And what matters over here, so we can pick any one of this. So let me pick you. Yeah, I'll pick you, doesn't really matter. So you're gonna pretty much lay out the first byte on top of the second byte over here. And I'm almost doing like a math operation. I already have here Mega Man running on the PPU viewer. If you remember, when 2 palettes, this is row 1 was 0, 0. Row 2 was 0, 1, 1, 0 for row 3, and 1, 1 for row 4. So you're doing this simple 1, 2, 3 binary incrementation to get either these rows over here. Remember, it starts at 0, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 0 to 3. Just remember that. And like I was saying before, you stack these 2 bytes on top of each other, and you just do the math. So you're going to use this 0 over here, and 0 over here is going to generate this dot over here. And this dot is represented because it's generally referred to as the transparency mode. So in this case, it's going to be 0, 0f over here. And if I have a 1 and 1 over here, it's going to generate the third or the most significant palette, we should say. So in this palette over here, it'll be this one. So I'm going to go back, get pen. So it'll be something like this. So 0, 0, it's 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, all this 1 and 1 should get. So this 1, 1 is going to give 3, this 1, 1 is going to give 3, and so forth. So you get this pattern over here. Pretty easy. And the only thing that throws me off is that this 0 and 1, so this first byte is 0, and the second byte is 1, it's actually 2. And if you see on the bottom, the first byte is 1 and the second byte is 0, that's actually 1. Kind of like inverted, because 0, 0, and push my keyboard over here, is 0. So 0, 1 is generally 1, 0 is 2, and 1 is 3. But as you see over here, this 0 and 1 is almost like inverted, so this one has the higher priority. So this is actually a higher level over here, so just keep that in mind. I want to save it. So okay, let me go back down here. So this 0 and 1 is actually going to be the value this second row, not you over here. So 1, 2. So 0, 1 is 2, 0, 1 is 2. All the 0 and 0 is this F0 value that I have over here. And then I can just draw the rest over here. So as you see already, we're generating this tile. And so the same thing I said. So this is, if this was 2, then 1, 0 is 1. So as you see, I already got this A thing going. Then the rest is all this 0, 1s over here. It's going to give a bunch of 2. And then you have our 3. And as you see already, we already have generated our pixel colors right over here. This is a 1, 1, 1, 1. And of course, we can always change this palette colors, not only over here, but during the game time as well. So that's how we're going to generate this 2 bit by pixels. That's going to happen over here. So that's how it works, how generating works. That's how easy it is conceptually. And to demonstrate it to work a little bit further, I have your Mega Man running. I showed you guys before. Let's go into the character viewer. So I have this. Let's just modify this version right over here. So this face of Mega Man that we have over here. And to do that, I'm going to come here under memory tools. And I'm going to start at our PPU memory. Remember, there's 2 RAMs. So this is CPU memory is different than PPU. So at 0, 0, as I move the mouse around, it says tile index. You can actually find them in the PPU memory. So 0, 0 is the start of the sprite, and then the other 4 kilobytes over here is for the tiles. That's tile 1000. So you go down here 1000 and change that. But we're changing Mega Man. And as you see over here, Mega Man, the first value that I have here for the first pixel is 9C. So if I were to convert this to 9C, I get this value, which I already have over here. So let me increase the font. The first value. And the second value that I have over here, so if you do the math over here, from 0 to 7, that's 1 byte. From 8 to 0F, that's another byte. So the second value is 0, 2, which is 1, 2, oops, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 0, 4. There you go. 2. So if I were to do the same thing as we did before, as in the sample over here, so bring this over here. So 1, 0. So it's gonna be 1, 0. it's gonna be a. Oh, I'm trying to minimize this so you can see both at the same time. It's gonna hassle. There we go. Okay, so much like this over here. So we have this 1 0 over here. 1 0 is gonna give us the first palette. So I'm gonna put in the first palette. So some 1, 2, 3, 4. So should I put? Yeah, let's put 2. So let's begin at 2. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna confuse people. So let's begin at 1. And then 0, 0 is 0, 0, 0 is 0, 1, 0 is 1 again. Oh, go back 1 again, and it's 1 again. Then we have a 2, 1, 2, and 0. And if I come over here under the tile over here, so here, the first one, it's 1. So right here, it's a white over here, that's what I got. Then I have 2 zeros, which is the 0F, so this is what I got. Then a bunch of 1s over here, so that's the first. I'm just taking off the versions that I already covered. This one is this palette over here, so it's right over here. And the last is 2, or the last one, and then we have 3. So as you see over here, that's how we had this first line of Mega Man over here. And I'm going to show you how that works. So doing that a bunch more times, 8 more times, is going to generate our sprite. So let me just close use and start right. Cover that part. Now I'm going to save you. And lastly, let me show you how the pattern works. And that's pretty easy to show you how that works. So here is my memory tool. Let me increase this times 2 so you guys can see a little bit better now. And I can always come over here and just can go back to 9C, forgot what it was. There it is, so it's back. This is, I can also change it for change FF, it's going to change everything over here. But looking over here, I'm going to show you guys, going to zero up, put a bunch of zeros. You're going to see the pattern of how it's generated. So start at the left and go straight. So as you see over here, I'm zeroing in out everything, and it's going to go starting left to right over here. So it's pretty standard. And if you come down here, so this is a position 1000. So let's go to the position 1000 over here. So this, let's put instead of FF over here. So you're zeroing out everything over here. And as you see, we're starting at the left to right. You're rendering everything over here. Then you go down over here. So that's how it actually works for the NES. So let me close over here. Let me close over here. And that's pretty much going to cover. Let me just open our Nerdy Nights website over here. So we covered the sprites, which you can also find more information. Let me go to the top. Miscellaneous NES over here gives a little bit more information if you guys want to read about. Under the same Nerdy Nights sources. Here's YY-CHR. Can give a little bit go over as well. But let me go back over here. As far as the main tutorial series, I believe I covered everything. I do have here some routines, game layout in Pong, but that's more of like a 6502 programming other than anything, so I'm not going to cover it. At least not on this part of the video. When I create the Let's Make a Game NES version, I kind of have to go over these parts anyway, so I don't want to cover this back to back, especially considering it's not an NES part. I feel more as like a programming part for the 6502 or assembly programming. So you're going to skip that, and we're going to start with the advanced parts over here. So in the next video, I'm just going to cover our character bank switching over here and so forth. And after that is all set, you're going to start the the audio tutorial. And pretty much like before, I feel like this is more of a programming, how to program an engine for the NES. but I'm just gonna show you guys at least from go to the top. I'm gonna show you guys at least up to part 3, and all this other information I'm gonna go over when I start the Let's Make a Game series for the NES. So with that all said, thanks for watching. If you guys like all this video I've been doing so far, please feel free to subscribe. And with that said, thanks guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.